Hello, guys. Welcome once again to the FilmBrony podcast, episode 24. I am, of course, Nick Canino, the one who took over, who's in charge of this podcast. As always, I'm not the only one here. I have guests with me, including one who started this whole podcast. So, would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
I'm Christian Frates, and I am a co-host of this show.
Well, 2 months into 2022, and it's safe to say it has not improved. Oh, 2022, how do I hate thee? Let me count the ways. It was already bad enough that Betty White had to die right before her 100th birthday, but then this year came around and took away so many celebrities like Ivan Reitman and Sidney Poitier.
Not to
Portier
mention Portier. Not to mention Bob Saget.
and Meatloaf and Louis Anderson.
And also the death of the Academy. Because I gotta say, I knew it. You heard right, I knew it. I knew that they were gonna. I knew that they were gonna pull the same bull crap that they've been pulling every year. I mean, two of the biggest. Let me say. Let me repeat. Two of the biggest global phenomenons are Zack Snyder's Justice League and Spider-Man No Way Home. So you'd think they'd be good frontrunners for Best Picture, right? But nope. What did they nominate instead? A good but not great movie, King Richard, and one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, Don't Look Down.
Well, for the Snyder Cut, it's justified because it's an alternate version of a pre-existing film.
Yeah. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Just look. I really wanted to give them a chance. I've given them so many chances, but at this point, I'm done with them. I am done with them. I mean, I know this isn't the first time they went full on political, but it's just like in terms of what they've been doing as of recently, this is an all time low.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not a
especially.
fan of liberal bias.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
yeah, and not right now they're trying to get their audience back with with that that with that
Fan.
new category, the most popular film on Twitter thing. So stupid.
It is stupid.
Oh, because we were so butthurt that No Way Home got snubbed.
And since I'm an obscure media fan, I'm shocked that the Suicide Squad got snubbed too.
Yeah.
Yes, same here. Honestly, though, I think it's just time to move on to better things. I would rather spend my time doing better things in my life than watch the pretentious and rigged Oscars.
Yeah, and every award show for that matter.
Yeah, really. At this point, award shows have become too politically. Most of the award shows have become too politically biased at this point. That it's it's sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, not to mention that people like Vic Mignogna, who's a conservative, got blacklisted over false accusations. We all stand with Vic Mignogna.
I gotta
Yeah.
tell you, they keep creating new ways of celebrating mediocrity.
They have, and this is like one of the lowest of the lows of celebrating mediocrity. Not to mention the fact that they nominated like Bean Ricardos for some awards. I mean, the only award I do think it deserves a nomination for is just Best Actress. That's literally it. Everything else, I don't really agree with.
And
And
not
Bean
to,
Ricardo Being Recounts is not that great of a movie. I mean, I love Aaron Sorkin, but this is his weakest movie so far.
Yeah, not to mention not to mention snubbing Denisovich for Best Director in favor of a movie, Drive My Car, which I've never even heard of.
I heard of Drive My Car. I really wanted to see that when I first heard about it, but it didn't play near me.
Not to be confused with my grandson, Denisovich.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that franchise in a little bit. But for now, let's get this podcast started.
Yeah, we had a lot of shit to get out of the way, folks. So without further ado, let's waste no time and just get to our usual stuff we do on the podcast. Starting with the Blu-ray pickups.
Yeah.
And since it's been 2 years since the last podcast, I bought a crap ton of 2 months. I bought a crap ton of movies. So starting off with 8 Mile.
Nice.
Rest in peace, Brittany Murphy.
Seriously.
The Accountant.
Nice.
Good representation of autistic people.
I agree.
Alita Battle Angel.
Good movie.
Deserved a cult following.
Yeah.
Almost Famous.
Oh, that's a classic.
Darkseid himself was in it.
Yeah.
Anastasia.
One of Don Bluth's best movies. Hell, I think along with the secret
singing voice of young Anastasia.
Oh yeah. Hell, I think along with The Secret of Nim, Anastasia is like the best of the best that Don Bluth has done.
Yeah, but since I like unconventional work, I like Titan AE. Did you know that Titan AE was originally going to be a live-action project?
I did not know that.
I did.
Anyways, And Justice for All.
Nice.
This whole court's out of order. Another Round.
You know, I really wish I got to see that film.
As Good as It Gets.
Nice.
Sponsored by Wolf.com.
The Assassination of Jesse James.
Nice. And hello, Jose. Welcome to the podcast.
Beast of No Nation.
Nice.
Bedtime Stories. One of the better Adam Sandler comedies.
And family-friendly, too.
One of the best so bad it's good movies out there, Birdemic.
Ah!
JonTron did a funny review.
Oh my god.
Booksmart?
Booksmart was excellent.
Burn After Reading.
Nice. That's a great one.
Cabin in the
Cox.
Cabin in the Woods.
That's a great movie too.
Chaplin.
Nice.
Chef.
That's one of Jon Favreau's best.
Doubt.
Nice.
Denisovich's Dune.
I also own it. Here it is.
Next
well,
is
I'll save up on my copy.
Nice.
Jodorowsky's June.
Nice. I've seen that documentary. It is a great one.
Eastern Promises.
One of David Cronenberg's best.
Elle.
I love that movie. Paul Verhoeven did a fantastic job with that film.
The Evil Dead trilogy.
Nice.
Raimi's Breakthrough.
Can't wait to see Doctor Strange 2. Anyways,
yeah.
Freaky.
Freaky was a wonderful surprise.
Free Guy.
That was another surprise.
The French Dispatch.
I also own that film too.
The Game.
Nice.
Gifted.
Nice. Underrated.
Glory.
One of the best war films ever made.
The Great Race,
Nice.
Greenland,
Nice.
Hardcore Henry,
Nice.
Ida,
Ida was great.
Ides of
who?
March,
Ida who?
I was doing Jackie Childs.
Henry's Ides of March.
Nice.
The John Hughes collection, it contains Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Ferris Bueller, She's Having a Baby, Pretty in Pink, and Some Kind of Wonderful.
Wow.
The first two Kingsman movies,
Nice.
The Land Before Time, speaking of Don Bluth,
Another Don Bluth. Another Don Bluth. Another great movie from Don Bluth.
Let Me In,
Nice.
Lion,
Nice.
The Lobster,
I love that movie.
Luca. Next is a movie that I bought solely because of the title, The Man Who Killed Hitler and the Bigfoot.
Jesus.
All the Matrix movies, or at least the only ones worth owning.
Unfortunately, it doesn't come with the cutscenes of Enter the Matrix.
Mr. Deeds Goes to Town,
That's a classic.
Nobody, On Golden Pond, On the Rocks,
I also own that too. Here it is.
Philomena,
Nice.
Detective Pikachu,
Nice.
Ryan the Last Dragon,
I also own that too. Here it is.
Ready,
Here it is
Ready.
right here.
Ready or Not,
Nice. That's a good one.
The Red Shoes,
Nice.
The Road, Road to Perdition, Disney's Robin Hood,
Nice.
Shang-Chi,
Sunshine, The Legend of the Ten Rings. I also own that.
True Lies,
I love that movie.
But you have the Spanish cover.
yeah, because James Cameron's probably not going to release that on Blu-ray anytime soon. At least he's releasing The Abyss on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Particularly the extended cut.
Yeah. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Nice.
And last but not least, Your Name.
Nice.
What about you two guys?
Well, on my list is Todd Phillips' Joker.
You get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah, or as Lobo would say, you get what you friggin' deserve, bastards! The Dawn of the Dead remake.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and The Irishman.
One of the best movies I saw from the last decade.
Yeah. Monsters Ball.
That's a great one.
Halle
Yeah,
Berry deserved the
They
Oscar.
have
She
Romeo and
deserved it.
Juliet, James Gunn's screenwriting debut.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have Into the Blue.
Never even heard of it.
Well,
I have.
And Little Fuckers, I'll bring you down to Chinatown. And my mom was supposed to give me the Hellboy Animan movies, but instead she gave me this.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's a great looking coaster.
Yeah. All right. I only got a few Blu-rays along with a DVD I have. So I'll just go ahead and show it. A Star is Born, one of the best movies I saw from the last decade.
Brooke Bradley and Lady Gaga should have won those Oscars.
Yeah, really. Right. Again, I'm going to say it one last time. I'm going to say this one last time. It's Bradley Cooper's award. not Rami Malek.
Yeah, really.
That's one of the best movies of 2019. Uncut Gems.
Holy
I
shit,
now-
I'm gonna come.
I now own the Criterion and the Lionsgate print of that of those Blu-rays now. So thank goodness. Next, Judas and the Black Messiah. The French
Really good movie.
Dispatch. Great movie. The French
movie.
Dispatch, as I showed earlier.
Great film.
Yeah. Spencer, one of the best movies I saw last year. And we'll talk more about that film when we get to it.
My Aunt Susie is a fan of Princess Diana's legacy, but she was a little underwhelmed by that film for having a more experimental approach.
Well, that was kind of the whole point. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like your typical biopic. It was supposed to be a lot different, and yet that's what I really loved about that movie.
Me too.
Yeah, and Kristen Stewart's a really underappreciated actress, especially after we'll get to a certain franchise later.
Yeah, really.
This is how we're represented.
I'm just-
Unbelievable.
Can we just be thankful that she's now nominated for Best Actress?
Yeah.
It's just now it can get the haters of Kristen Stewart to at least shut up about her and know that she's a good actress.
Well, in
Yeah.
fact, the support for her began all the way back in 2002 with Panic Room, because I was reading Amazon reviews dated in 2002.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then one of the best movies I saw last year, Dune, as I showed earlier.
You're seeing
And
in the top
finally-
3.
Yes, finally, my favorite documentary film of last year, and one of the best movies I saw last year too, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised.
All right. So that's it for our Blu-rays. And before we get to our reviews, I have a bit of an announcement to make. Starting in 2022, I have officially ditched the traditional 1 to 10 scale when it terms of rating reviews. Instead, I have created a brand new rating system that I'm gonna share here. If only the Yeah, sorry guys, a bit of technical difficulties here.
I thought it was, I've come to make an announcement. Show the hedgehogs up.
Okay, here we go. That should be it. Can you see it right here?
Nope.
I can't.
Oh,
Do you see it
no.
now?
I only see your profile.
You know,
Ah.
I'm something of a profile icon myself. I mean, profile icon.
Are you
Yeah.
sure you're?
Guess I'll have to share the.
Are you sure you're?
Yeah, it says. Let me.
Hey Josh, welcome to the show.
And I also got a copy
Hey,
of
Johnson,
this video game, 13. It has the voice talents of David Gazman and Ken Starcevic, who voiced in the Rayman games.
Yeah, guess I'll have to share the entire screen here. Okay. Now do you see it?
Wait a minute. I think. Hold on. Add to stream. That was my fault. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, you see this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've compiled a list of seals that I'm gonna rate movies from now on. As you can see, it's ranked from worst to best, and with the special seal at the end. So yeah, The first one, The Seal of Rage, is an absolute garbage movie with little to no positives, and you should just skip it. The Seal of Disapproval is a bit better, but it's still not a good movie at all. The Seal of Mediocrity is just that, just kind of blah. Not awful, but you could be spending your time with something else. The son of a. The Seal of Accuracy is a good movie that you watched once and didn't actually waste your time, but you probably wouldn't see again. The Seal of Approval is a solid, entertaining movie that that's really enjoyable, and you wouldn't mind seeing again and again and again. You might even buy it on Blu-ray or something. And The Seal of Cinema is an absolute masterpiece with the little to no nothing holding back. Might even be one of your favorite films of the year, maybe of all time. Now, the special seal, the Derby seal, is more of a guilty pleasure type of thing. Whether it's
I'm
a
sure
so bad good
Gray, who voiced Derpy in the fan film, would approve. Derpy, what? Muffin!
Yeah. Whether it's a so
I
bad
love
it's good
Derpy.
movie, whether it's a so bad it's good movie, or a movie that you know that isn't perfect, but you just don't care. You just really like seeing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's the ratings. That's the new ratings that Soren will have from now on.
All right,
And now
on
to the reviews.
First off is the first movie that came out this year, the 355.
Which I just recently watched.
So it's pretty much one of the 10 Commandments that the first movie in January has to suck major balls, and this movie further proves it. It's almost like Simon Kimber took that X-Women line from Dark Phoenix and stretched it to 2 hours.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started on that line from Dark Phoenix. That was so fucking stupid.
Not to mention that it was hypocritical because Nightcrawler saved Mystique.
Yeah, really.
The
and in the comics, Mystique is supposed to be Nightcrawler's mother.
Yeah, really.
The characters are complete blank slates, even though the actors are mainly doing their best. The story is a bland, predictable plot where a bunch of heroes have to appreciate each other in order to save the world. And I wouldn't mind a bland, predictable story if the action was enticing, which, spoiler alert, it's not. This is some of the worst action sequences I've ever seen put to film.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know a lot of these bad action movies suffer from these shakily shot fight scenes, but this one just takes it to the next level. They're so shaky and hastily edited that you'd be lucky if you didn't get a seizure from them. So yeah, this movie should have been at least fun, and it wasn't even that. So I'm gonna have to give this the Seal of Rage.
And Strong Bad be like, the cheat? I don't know whether to puke or have a seizure.
Simon Kimber, please do something good soon.
All right, for me...
Well, we could give him credit for writing Days of Future Past, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even still. But still. All right, I saw the 355 with Soren, and yeah, this movie is pretty bad. And that's unfortunate because I actually do think this movie did have some potential, especially with the cast. And the acting isn't the problem here because the acting is actually pretty decent. I really like Jessica Chastain. I really like Penelope Cruz. I really like Lupita Nyong'o and Diane Kruger and Edgar Ramirez. Fan Bingbing and Sebastian Stan. Everybody does give out a good performance in the film. All the acting is good, and the musical score by Tom Hulkenborg or Hulkenborg. Thank you, Christian. And otherwise known by his stage name, Junkie XL. I really like the musical score for this.
Yeah, not to
Unfortunately,
mention that a few of the actors were also involved in the X-Men films written by Kinberg.
yeah. Unfortunately, this movie was a mess. I'm pretty much in agreement with what Soren had to say. Look, I will admit, this did have some potential with the cast involved, but when the film suffers through a lackluster and uninspiring story, bad script, terrible action sequences, as well as terrible directing, editing, cinematography, and cliches that you've seen in other action films, action/spy films before, the result is a missed potential movie, and that's what the 355 is. It's just nothing more than a missed potential.
Yeah, and there are some similar works or video games that have missed potential. For example, the game Sonic Free Riders was the third game of the Sonic Riders series, but it had missed potential. For example, it had an ass pull where Metal Sonic is suddenly the villain, but in Sonic Heroes, it worked because it had build-up. Not to mention that the controls were floaty and you have to use the Microsoft Kinect.
Welcome to the show, Tanner. If you're wondering, Soren is Jake Gyllenhaal from Nightcrawler.
He was complete. Speaking of snub from the Oscars,
Oh, don't even get me started on that. Yeah. Other than good acting and good musical score, this movie, the 355 it's just not worth your time. 2 out of 10. Simon Kinberg, you really look, man. I do appreciate what you were trying to do, but this was not good, man. This was a forgettable mess. Please do better.
yeah. As for the next movie review, that is a movie that I just want to get over it because I did an entire review dissecting this movie. So I'll just say this. I'm a moderate fan of the Hotel Transylvania franchise. I really dig the first 2 movies. I tolerated the third one, and I even used some of the characters in the fanfictions on my DeviantArt account. However, from the very announcement of this 4th movie, I knew this wasn't going to be good. I just didn't think I would be this frustrated watching it. Like, for those who thought the first movie was going to be bad, I feel like this is the movie they thought they were going to get. So, plot is complete trash. Dracula still hates Giant for some reason, in spite of spending the first 2 movies warming up to him and letting them do stuff. And by do stuff, I mean banging Drac's daughter. So basically,
Yeah, you were referencing that meme.
Yeah.
So basically, he's going through the exact same story arc as the first movie, and Giant wants to become a monster to please his father-in-law, but A, he doesn't even talk with his wife about it. Like, hello, you think becoming trans species would be a huge deal or anything? And B, he lives in a hotel with monsters, so there's like a bajillion ways to turn into one. Have Murray the Martian curse him, get his limbs cut off and sewn back on Frankenstein style, or just have Dennis bite his hand so that he'll become pretty much immortal. But no, Van Helsing just so happened to have this human monster transformation ray that he could have just used during his monster hunting days. And so to get themselves back to normal, they had to travel halfway across the world to get this magic crystal. Like, am I watching a Hotel Transylvania movie or a Diet Indiana Jones fanfic? And it goes through these cliches that you've seen 100 times, like the lie reveal, the third act breakup, and it's just so predictable. The animation's complete trash. They seriously look like cheap dailies for that Blue Sky Peanuts movie. And that's just so many continuity errors that I just can't get behind. Like, why does Mavis have big ears? Why is Blobby turned into a jailer while the rest of his friends turn to humans? How is Drag able to hypnotize Dennis and Winnie in spite of the fact that vampires can't be hypnotized? And this movie is just not funny. I only laughed once, and that's when the zombie butler gets sucked into a human only to get bitten by another zombie. That's the kind of humor these movies are known for. Otherwise, it's either crappily edited slapstick that you've seen in a bajillion kids' movies, or having these Transformers monsters be one joke. Dracula gets hurt as a human. Frankenstein's monster is hot. Mummy is old. The Invisible Man is naked. That's the entire joke. And for a movie billed as the final chapter, there's just no finality to it. The most that we get is that spoiler alert, but who cares? The hotel gets destroyed off screen by this giant guinea pig, and Dracula is like, oh, here you go, Mavis and Johnny. You can rebuild this hotel however you want. And they just rebuild the exact same way. Like,
Okay.
Okay.
What? What?
What was the point of that? I mean, imagine if in Toy Story 4 it goes along as a traditional story again, the toys back together, and at the very end, without any warning, Woody's like, all right, guys, wish I could stay, but I gotta go bang Bo Peep, goodbye forever. Just pointless. Let me tell you, if Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is Sony's equivalent of the Prince of Egypt, this is pretty much the equivalent of Shrek the Third. I guarantee that if you like the first three movies, you'll still hate this one as much as I did. Seal of disapproval, one of the worst anime sequels I've ever seen in my life. I'm just glad this is the last one so that Sony can move on to greener pastures.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. It's just they've been doing well last year with the Mitchells versus the Machines, which is now Best Animated Feature nomination worthy, and I'm really happy it's been nominated. It's just I know they could do so much better than that.
And the antenna, I know. Five Cream is pretty much the only good movie so far this year, which we'll talk about in the next podcast.
Yeah, we'll get to that because I still have not seen Scream 5 yet, but I am planning to rewatch the first two films so I can get myself ready to see this. So
yeah, but one gripe I have with that film is that the main protagonist, she wears the rainbow flag. It's totally in your face.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, now that I mentioned Transformania, let's go over my Sony Pictures animation ranking.
Let's do that.
Number 29, Surf's Up 2 Wave Mania. Number 28, Open Season 2. Number 27, Open Season 3.
Why did those three movies exist?
Number 26, The Smurfs. And number 25, The Smurfs 2. Roger Gosnell, please stop trying.
Seriously, you're a terrible filmmaker.
At least it did give us Jacob Tremblay. At least I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Number 24 is The Emoji Movie.
God, I hated that movie.
Number 23, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Number 22. Yeah. Number 22, Transformania.
I'm not surprised it's on the list.
Number 21, Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs 2. A sequel that this is the first movie's great humor with just cheap food puns.
And I did not love the first movie as much as a lot of people did, but even I know that they completely disrespect almost everything that made the first film at least enjoyable.
Yeah, just watch Animat's review of Cloudy 2. Anyways, number 20 is The Star. Number 19, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween.
I even forgot that movie existed. That's how forgettable that film was.
I wouldn't blame you. Number 18, Open Season 4, Scared Silly. Number 17, Smurfs The Lost Village. Number 16 is the first Open Season. Number 15, the first Peter Rabbit. Number 14 is Wish Dragon, and number 13 is Vivo. Number 12 is Hotel Transylvania 3. Number 11, the Angry Birds movie. Number 10, Clyde with a Chance of Meatballs. Number 9 is Goosebumps. Number 8, the Angry Birds movie 2. Number 7, Arthur Christmas. Number 6, the first Hotel Transylvania. Number 5 is Surf's Up. Number 4, Hotel Transylvania 2. Number 3, Pirates Band of Misfits. Number 2, The Mitchells versus the Machines. You bet I'll be talking about it way later on the podcast. And number 1, their magnum opus, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice. All right, so I'll list off 2 of my least favorite Sony Pictures animation, and then my top 2 favorites. Number 2 of my least favorite is number 2 of my least favorite of the Sony Pictures animations they've been involved in is easily the first Smurfs movie. That movie is just an abomination. But my number 1 worst Sony Pictures animation movie, without a doubt, is the Emoji Movie, which I still feel it is the worst animated movie I've ever seen in my life.
You're so soft, Poop.
Yeah, the director also made Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, which created continuity errors with the prequel video game for the PS2.
Yeah, just keep the director out of animation. All right, so number two on my second favorite Sony Pictures animation film is easily, you know what? I had the same top 2 as Soren. Number 2, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and my number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the best of the Sony Pictures animation movies, without a doubt.
All right.
And my personal favorite Sony animated film is obviously Into the Spider-Verse.
I cannot wait for when they do, like, I cannot wait for part 1 of the sequel coming up.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a cameo of Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland appearing in the original Spider-Verse movie, but it was cut to prevent confusion.
At least it made up for it in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing the animated characters crossing over with the live ones.
Oh, that's a great show. Rainwright, the cartoon analyst, just commented on saying this. Let me highlight this comment for a second. I hope Alice Hurst makes a movie. He deserves a movie too. Let him work at Sony. By the way, Alice Hurst was the creator of Gravity Falls. That's a great show.
Yeah, and the creator of Homestar Runner, co-creator Matt Chapman, he voiced in Gravity Falls.
Yeah, and yeah, Jose, Hey, Inside Out fan, you don't call me an idiot. You don't call me an idiot just because I love the Mitchells versus the Machines and hated the Boss Baby Family Business. You twit.
Yeah.
Or Lobo would say, the Boss Baby Family Bastages.
The Bitch Baby Family bullshit, more like it.
Yeah, but Lobo, he says Bastich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next review.
As for my next movie review is a movie called Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild.
Oh my God.
Question, why does this movie exist? After Disney killed Blue Sky Studios, they had the audacity to cancel Pneumonia and let this mediocrity be completed for the masses. I mean, it's far better than the last two because it delivered an okay enough adventure for young kids, and it did have more laughs than I thought it would have. Though, to be fair, I expected 0 laughs. However, the laughs are few and far between, and the animation's a severe downgrade. Say what you will about Continental Drift and Colonoscopy Course. At least they have good animation. Plus, the plot's super predictable and doesn't really warrant its own existence. Like with Transformania, little kids who are fans of these movies will tolerate this one, but there are far better movies on Disney Plus that are worth anyone else's time, like next month's Turning Red. So
yeah,
I'm gonna
not to mention Not to mention, Soul is another good example of that.
Yeah.
And Raya and the Last Dragon and Encanto.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to give Buck Wild the seal of mediocrity. It's the third best movie of the year so far, but it's still not good at the least.
Yeah, not to mention that the original copyright owner of Scrat, she won a deal against Disney and Fox so that she'll keep the original character.
I hope they take it as a sign to stop making making Ice Age movies.
Yeah, really. Thank you, Jose. Luca's another one too.
And Cruella.
Yeah, really.
Speaking of cash grabs.
Oh no.
Hey, Roland Emmerich, what was it you said about Star Wars and Marvel movies ruining cinema? Yeah, that's the guy who's spent his entire career making these low-quality disaster movies. And
Okay, you know what? I got a lot to say about this too. Guys, if you don't know what movie we're talking about Roland Emmerich's slotster piece, Moonfall.
Yeah, and Roland, you're saying that Marvel's ruining cinema? Yeah.
Yeah, you keep saying. You gotta be ashamed of yourself, Roland. You kept saying that Star Wars, Marvel, and DC movies are like ruining cinema. Well, look who's talking, you stupid, you hypocritical snake. Especially when you're creating the same exact formula that you did with Independence Day back in 1996.
Yeah, you made that one great movie which generated millions upon millions of dollars at the box office. So you capitalized.
My pal Richard Epcar provided ADR in that film. If you've checked
Yeah,
the credits, you must have noticed his name.
Yes, so you capitalize on that success by making Independence Day 2, except for that giant lizard thing that's totally not Godzilla, but you call it Godzilla anyway just to fill up seats. And then you make another good movie, The Patriot, which is essentially Braveheart 2, just in the Revolutionary War. So what better way to follow it up than with Independence Day 3, just with melting ice caps and call it Day After Tomorrow? And then you make Independence Day 4 and make it capitalize on those Mayan prophecies and call it 2012. And then make Independence Day 5 and make it a Die Hard with White House Down. And then once in a while you turn out these diet Oscar bait movies like that Apocalypto About 10,000 BC. I still regret buying that Blu-ray. That Shakespeare movie, Anonymous, that nobody remembers. That Stonewall movie nobody's ever heard of, and that Pearl Harbor rip.
I saw Stonewall. That movie was complete garbage.
So after all these failures, you'd think he'd learn his lesson after that. Or he could just make Independence Day 6 and market it as Independence Day 2. And then we come to this movie, Moonfall. It's Independence Day 7, just with this bullcrap plot involving this Apollo 13 conspiracy and aliens and nanotech and such. The characters are all just caricatures of our Independence Day counterparts. The plot follows the exact same formula as those Independence Day sequels. The action is stupid and somehow boring at the same time, and it all results in a sequel bait ending which will never happen due to this movie bombing so hard. This movie is the epitome of why Roland Emmerich either needs to come up with something original or just retire at this point. Because
when I heard Free Bagels in the trailer, it made me think of Strong Bad. I'm sorry, man. Free Bagels just happened. Oh, man, this isn't Free Bagels. No, but it is freeing Homestar from the water cool.
Yeah, because he keeps thinking that he can recapture the spirit of that one hit he made in the 90s, and as a result, fall flat on his face each time harder and harder. You know what? Originally, I gave this a seal of disapproval because the visuals are. I thought the visuals were okay, but no. Even the visuals were complete garbage. And
they look like something out of a PS4 game.
And plus, solely because you were bash Marvel and Star Wars like that, I'm gonna have to change my rating to the seal of rage. Screw this movie.
Okay. You know why I prefer rain? You know, I prefer. You know why I prefer Martin's words over Roland's Wainwright? Because yes, I agree that Martin shouldn't have said that Marvel movies are not cinema, because they are. All movies are cinema, and art is extremely subjective. But he was not trying. He was not trying to disrespect anybody that likes those movies.
Not to mention that Martin Scorsese said that he liked Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films.
Exactly. Even though it's from a different Marvel movie, he said he still loved that. He still loved those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. That's why I prefer him. That's why I prefer his words over Roland's. Now, do I agree that, like I said, do I agree that he should, do I agree with him that Marvel movies are not cinema? No. But that's only one thing that I disagree with him for. Just because I had one disagreement with him does not mean I'm gonna shun him out of my life. It's his opinion at the end of the day. With Roland, though, he's a hypocrite.
He really is.
He is a damn hypocrite.
Yeah.
Just, I have a lot to talk about why this is the worst. This is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. And let me explain why it is. Why I hated this more than the 355. First off, the acting is absolutely atrocious. Poor Halle Berry, Donald Sutherland, and Michael Pena are horribly wasted due to how poorly written their characters are. I hated the actor that played the geek character. He was by far the worst part of the film. And especially since the geek character is nothing more than a Marty Stu. He's nothing but an overpowered Marty Stu character. And for those who don't know what a Marty Stu is, it's basically a male term of a Mary Sue.
Yeah,
that's what the geek character is.
He's even more of a Mary Sue than Ray is a Mary Sue. And I don't even think that Ray is a Mary Sue.
Yeah, really. The visual effects are complete garbage. These are some of the worst CGI effects I've ever seen put to film this entire year so far. They look like something out of a PS4 game. Yeah. And Wainwright, I hate those terms as well, but for this one, I'm gonna have to with this one because what was Roland Emmerich on when he even wrote that character?
And Tony Mass must be like, what happened to your brain?
Right?
Yeah.
Does he think that 12 is in the teens?
Oh my god. But God, I really hated this movie. I hate this movie so much. The musical score is atrocious. The cinematography's a shaky mess. The editing is some of the worst I've ever seen put to film this entire year so far. The story. What story?
It's just the exact same as Independence Day.
Yeah, really. Except, hey, let's have the NASA people fight a cobra like creature that's supposed to be AI because it's threatening to destroy the Earth.
And I guess the visuals look just as bad as Matthias in The Mummy Returns.
Oh, they look worse.
Yeah. But
this movie cost
in the video game.
This movie cost $150 million to make.
And plus, it came decades after The Mummy Returns. So what's their excuse?
Yeah, really. There's no excuse for a movie to be this bad. There's no excuse for the CGI effects to be this god awful. There's no excuse here. Yeah, Jose. Oh, no, wait, it wasn't 150. I was close. It was 140 million. Yes, Jose, it cost 140 million to make, and this was the best they could come up with.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it cost this much money due to how cheap it looks.
There's a reason why I put a picture of Roland and tears in that thumbnail.
Yeah, because he's a has-been. He's a has-been hack.
He's a hypocritical has-been hack. The only film I like from Roland Emmerich is The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson. That's it.
Or as Donkey would say, this man is a freaking hypocrite, piece of shit, rat bastard.
Yeah.
You should check out Donkey's review of Spider-Man 3 and The Shining.
I will. After the show. But I gotta talk about this third act, because this third act is one of the worst I've ever seen put to film. I mean, this is seriously. If you thought the third act of Fan Forsick was horrendous, and if you thought that made you look stupid, get ready for one of the worst third acts I've ever seen put to film in my entire life. Especially with how they fight especially with how they try to, like, oh my god. Ooh, how they try to save the world from the moon destroying it, and how they fight the AI.
And set up for a sequel that'll never happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice try, Roland. Nice try. But nice try. And you know what's even worse? I'm reading this right now. Listen to this. In January 2022, Emmerich spoke the possibility of filming two sequels back to back if the first film was a success. The following month, star John Bradley said that if Roland goes down the direction that he wants to, the sequels would be even more batshit crazy than the first. So that was their intention then.
Yeah, you know what's one of my least favorite cases of sequel bait? There was this cartoon monsoon pilot called Edgar and the Voyagers. Is that after Edgar and his pals defeat a robot version of him, this happens when they go to a cave.
I don't know, but this is the only way out.
Where on earth are we?
See, it was supposed to be picked up as a pilot, but unfortunately it wasn't. So, what was the point of aliens and dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Really. And yeah. Back to what I said about that sequel bait ending. Nice try, Roland. But judging by the fact that the film made over $33 million worldwide, a lot of people are getting really sick and tired of your shit. They're really starting to get sick and tired of your shit, man. Yeah, you claimed that. Yeah, you claimed that. I can't even phrase it right, because I'm really angry right now at his hypocritical words.
But you claim that Star Wars and Marvel are ruining cinema, yet you're doing the exact same thing with your Independence Day sequels. Just making the exact same movie over and over.
Why the fuck would you claim that DC, Star Wars, and Marvel movies are ruining cinema when you literally made the exact same movie, Independence Day formula movie, since all the way back in 1996?
Not to
This
mention
is the worst.
Not to mention that Terry Rossio and Ted Elliott have their own Godzilla script in 1994, which is more faithful to the kaiju films than what Roland had.
I wish they could have stuck with that script.
Yeah, really.
In fact, some guy, he did an unofficial graphic novel based on it, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. Guys, do not see Moonfall. This is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. This is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. And it gets a big fuck you of a 0 out of 10.
Screw Roland Emmerich, man.
Yeah, and by the way, to Roland Emmerich, this is to you, you fucker.
Yeah, but I believe in redemption story, so hopefully he could redeem himself, but there's no chance so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Look, it's just and let me just say this right now. This I really don't mean any. Listen right now. It's just I don't mean any disrespect to any filmmakers, but it's just like Roland Emmerich. It's just this is proved by Roland Emmerich. It's just is a hypocrite. Is a hypocritical snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just guys, don't waste your time with Moonfall. Do not waste your time with this film. It is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. And I'm well aware that I might see worse movies come like toward the upcoming months, and God help me if I do so. But as of right now, this is the lowest of the low I've seen in a movie this year so far. Fuck this movie.
Oh, one more thing, Roland. You say that Marvel is ruining cinema when in the contrary, No Way Home officially saved the movie
Oh
theater
yeah,
and is still doing so to this day.
Yeah,
so
really.
Like damn apple.
You know what? Thank you for mentioning that. Soren. Hey, Roland. I'm sorry that Spider-Man No Way Home made a lot of people come back to the theaters in a pandemic. In a pandemic, nevertheless.
Yeah, not to mention, it's exactly what fans wanted.
Yeah, really. There's a reason why it was successful at the box office last year. Because a lot of people wanted to see what happens next with Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So who are you to say that Marvel movies? So who are you to say that Marvel, DC, and Star Wars movies are ruining cinema when you are the one that has been ruining cinema by making the exact same formula story over and over and over again?
Yeah, kind of.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Kind of like another hypocrite, the voice of Vegeta, Chris Sabat. He called Vic Mignogna's fans autistic as a slur and referred to them by the homophobic F slur, while saying that his Dragon Ball dubs are better without Vic.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm just glad this movie bombed at the box office.
All same here.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
I hope people don't watch English dubs of Dragon Ball anymore with Sabat around.
Yeah.
You know what? To quote Rick Moranis from Spaceballs.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yeah, really. And thank God you did Rain right, because that movie's way better. That movie is No Way Home is way better than this piece of shit Moonfall.
Yeah. See what you want about Chris Sabat being a hypocrite, but at least he didn't like Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw No Way Home in theaters as well. We will talk about that film in a little bit when we get to our best of list.
Yeah.
But one more time, fuck Moonfall.
Yeah. Anyways, as for my final movie review is Blacklight. Hey, remember when Liam Neeson was nominated for an Oscar Well, Hollywood sure doesn't, because ever since Taken, he's been signing on onto these action thrillers that's varying quality and but overall aren't going to be remembered in 2 years. And Blacklight is a summation of this era. This is probably the most generic espionage thriller I'm going to be talking about in a long time. And it's not only generic, but it's also boring and confusing to the point that I just not couldn't care throughout the entire runtime. And Ian Lian's walking around all tired and confused, like he's sick of how, like even he's sick of how his career's gone. While the cinematography and action can be nice at times, this is at a point where the Liam Neeson action thriller genre should just die in a ditch somewhere, and Blacklight gets the seal of disapproval.
Honestly, I'm just not even going to bother with that film.
You're not missing much.
That's what I heard. And Jay Batters hated this movie. He gave it a 1 out of 10. So, yeah, I'm not even going to bother.
And speaking of brands that need to die, so in light of Valentine's Day month, as well as Robert Pattinson's The Batman coming out in a couple weeks, out of curiosity, I decided to check out the film series that defined a generation of teenage girls for better or for worse. That's Stephanie Meyer's Twilight Saga. And what did I think of it? Well, it's complicated. The first movie wasn't terrible per se, but it's not good either. It's got decent visuals and some of the lore seemed interesting, but it's kind of a slow burn. It takes a lot to get going. Plus, I felt that Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson's chemistry was non-existent, and their performances felt super bland, though admittedly their acting does get better as the series goes along. And yeah, there are some stupid moments here and there, like the whole sparkling vampires thing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was so stupid.
Well, Dakota Fanning did a great job in those films, though.
As for New Moon, it was shit. The pacing was The pacing was even worse than the last one, and little to nothing happens. Like, you can skip this one and go straight to Eclipse and miss pretty much nothing. Plus, the effects were terrible, and Bella's character went from a typical high school student to a flawed idiot who would purposely get herself into danger just for Edward to notice her.
I like when Beavis and Butthead were watching Twilight in the 2011 revival.
I remember that.
This is stupid.
This is stupid.
Eclipse is the only one I can legit call okay.
Eclipse wasn't all that bad. It was just all right.
It's definitely not great, as we still have the stupid moments, and it's really slow in the middle, but this was the first time that I cared about the main love triangle, and the climax with the big vampire battle was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The original actress for Claudia was replaced by Bryce Dallas Howard in that film.
And now we get to Breaking Dawn, and why they split this one up into 2 parts. Okay, I know the reason.
I guess to cash in for Harry Potter.
Yeah, because Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was such a huge hit, and they thought this was going to be the next big thing. But here's the thing. From what I hear, Deathly Hallows was such an eventful book that Warner Brothers felt condensing it all into one movie wouldn't do it justice. Here, you can sum up the events in a few plot points. Edward and Bella get married. They bargain she gets pregnant. The fears proves too much for her, so they decide to turn her into a vampire to save her life. When the baby is born, this vampire council feels she might be a huge threat and are about to attack. So the heroes gather up a team of superhumans to defend themselves, which proves pointless as Alice tells the council they're gonna die anyway, so they forfeit the fight. There you go. Could easily be told within 2 hours, 2.5 tops.
Also, Bella should have listened to Coach Carr, because don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die.
But Stephanie Meyer had to fill up the runtime with so many scenes where the characters are just hanging out. Literally nothing happens in the middle of each part, and you can easily cut like an hour and a half of the total runtime and miss nothing. Plus, there's just so many scenes throughout that I just can't get over.
Yeah, really.
Besides the ending that everyone's pretty much complained about, where it's revealed that this whole giant battle sequence turns out to be a dream. There's also some scenes in part one where there's random flashes of white and red that think they're giving the audience tension, but all they're doing is giving the audience seizures.
Not to mention that it's familiar to a Pokemon episode that was caused by Pikachu and caused a lot of deadly seizures in Japan, which resulted in the episode getting recalled.
Yeah.
It did.
And there's also the infamous scene where Jacob decides to protect Renesmee because he has a vision of himself and her as an adult hooking up. Thus, he falls in love with the infant.
Oh my God.
Let me repeat that.
Oh my.
Jacob
I remember
the baby because he imagined himself romancing with a baby as an adult, thus making him fall in love with a minor.
Did Jimmy Urine write this?
So yeah, I'm just glad that the Twilight brand is done because this was not a good series at all.
However, there is a book called Midnight Sun, which shows Edward's perspective of the first book.
Yeah. And as how I would rank this series, New Moon is obviously the worst, then Breaking Dawn Part 1, then Part 2, then Twilight, then Eclipse, which is the only decent one of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said,
obviously, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And like I said, I'm so glad that Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart moved on to greener pastures.
Yeah, me too. And the sad thing is, it really wasn't their fault. They really tried to give it their all, but it's just the characters were so poorly written that it's just you just can't help but just feel bad for the actors who are really trying their best.
Well, but for Dakota Fanning's case, she did a great job, though.
She did, but even then, but even then, still.
And not to mention that most of these movies were written by some talented filmmakers, like Catherine Hardwicke did the first one, and she previously did a pretty underrated film, The Nativity Story.
She later made Red Riding Hood with Amanda Seyfried.
Oh God, Red Riding Hood.
And
it even had an alternate ending.
And the third movie was directed by the director of 30 Days of Night and Hard Candy, which I hear good things about.
Hard Candy is a very good film. It is not an easy film to watch though, so just be warned to anybody who watches it.
And it had a good debut from Elliot Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Breaking Dawn was actually directed by Bill Condon, who won an Oscar for Gods and Monsters, but also did Chicago and Dreamgirls and the Beauty and the Beast remake.
Yeah, and some of the films were written by Melissa Rosenberg, who would later create the show Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you want to know why New Moon sucked? Because it's by the director of Golden Compass.
Oh God.
Well, but for Golden Compass, about the whole ending was cut. Not to mention that it was already implemented in the video game.
Yeah, and another thing too about the director, he also did About a Boy, which was a great movie.
So I've heard. Anyways, that's it for all of our movie reviews. And before we get to the main event, My Little Pony Season 6 I didn't think was very good. A lot of average episodes and a lot of bad episodes too. There are some good ones which I'll get to. Anyways, on to the ranking. Hold on. Anyways, on to the ranking. Number 26, 28 Pranks Later.
Fuck that episode.
That episode is pretty much the exact same plot as Mysterious Manager Well.
But worse.
Yeah. Number 25, Flood of Butter.
I'm sorry, man. I really like that episode.
I can understand, but Larsi's brother is just so annoying in that episode.
I didn't find him annoying at all. I related to him because he reminded me a little bit of my brother.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I almost forgot these are the bad episodes. Anyways, number 24, The Cart Before the Ponies. Number 23, Dungeons and Discords.
I didn't like that episode.
Number 22, On Your Marks. As for the average episodes, number 21 is Gauntlet of Fire. Number 20, Where the Apple Lies. Number 19, Viva Las Pegasus. Number 18, Spice of Your Life.
No. Viva Las Pegasus, I feel is very underrated. Same thing with Flutter Brother.
Anyways, number 17 is Top Bolts. Number 16, Buckball Season. Number 15, Gift of the Mud Pie. Number 14, The Sour Review. And number 13, To Where and Back Again Part 1. As for the good episodes, number 12 is No Second Prances. Number 11 is another episode that I find overhated, Newbie Dash. Number 10, PPOV. Number 9, Fallen Akiri Marks. Number 8, Applejack's Day Off. Number 7, Crystalline Part 1. I really don't understand why people crap over Flurry Heart. She's
I don't understand either.
She is not a Mary Sue, and
she's not a Mary Sue.
Plus, how can you resist her adorable eyes?
Exactly.
Anyways, number 6, A Heartwarming Tale. Number 5, Every Little Thing She Does. As for the 4 great episodes, number 4, To Where and Back Again Part 2. Number 3, Time Stare on a Changeling. Number 2, Stranger Than Fanfiction. And number 1, Crystalline Part 2.
Obviously my least favorite is 28 Pranks Later, without a doubt. These are the worst of season 6. But ironically, my favorite episode of season 6 also involves Rainbow Dash, Stranger Than Fanfiction.
Plus, it has Patton Oswalt, and you can't go wrong with him.
Oh no, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. He was also
dad owns a dealership.
He was also the reason why I didn't hate The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yeah, him and Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get to the main event.
Yes, you guys have been waiting for this. I know it's been like 72 minutes since you guys waited for this, but here it is. Our top 15 best movies that we saw in 2021. Now, the same rules apply as for my worst of list. We did not see almost every film that came out in 2021. I didn't see Drive My Car, unfortunately, so you won't be seeing that on the list. Don't expect to see the worst person in the world on the list either, even despite the fact that it is a 2021 movie, because it's actually more of a 20, because the distributor of this film, Neon, actually released it in 2022, so that's why I'm counting that as a 2022 film, even despite it being released in 2021.
Hey, I have some good news. James Gunn and Jennifer Holland are now engaged.
So I've heard.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen Drive My Car, so you won't see that on the list, unfortunately. You won't see Flea on the list either, because Neon, why didn't you play this in my theaters before the end of the year? I really wanted to see that movie, yet you had to wait a month for it to play in my area. And it's still not here.
Yeah.
What happened?
I think it's on DVD now.
Not until next month.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, if you were looking forward to seeing those films on the list, you're going to be disappointed. I'm very sorry to hear. I'm very sorry to tell you this. Also the same also another rule applies the same one as our worst of list. Like our worst of list, these are just our personal opinions for what we feel are the best movies that we saw in 2021. So if a movie you didn't like is on the list, please don't get mad about it. If you like these movies, if you like the movies that are on our best list, great. If you didn't like the movies that are on our best list, that's totally all right. That's why we have a comment down. We have comments down below discussing what you guys feel are the best movies that you saw in 2021. So make sure you comment down below to give me your thoughts on your best movies that you saw in 2021. But without further ado, why don't we get started right now and waste no time?
Why don't you go first on the honorable mentions? I'll be nice.
Okay. All right. So as for my honorable mentions, let me pull this up. As for my honorable mentions, we have A Quiet Place Part 2, The Suicide Squad, Candyman, Raya and the Last Dragon, The Last Duel, Limbo, Zola, the documentary from Julia, Encanto, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, No Time to Die, Last Night in Soho, Saint Maud, The Mitchells versus the Machines, King Richard, In the Heights, The French Dispatch, Nightmare Alley, The Card Counter, Mass, and finally, Pedro Almodovar's Parallel Mothers.
As for my honorable mentions, I have Lamb, The Tomorrow War, Respect, West Side Story, Licorice Pizza, Wrath of Man, Finch, Shang-Chi, The Card Counter, Cruella, Limbo, Judas and the Black Messiah, Coda, Come On, Come On, The French Dispatch, Mass, Spencer, and the one that almost made it, In the Heights.
Nice. All right. Without further ado, let's get started with our top 15 best movies that we saw in 2021. Let's do it. So, Søren, you're number 15.
My number 15 is a movie that I liked at first, but as time went on, I really liked more and more, and that's The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Nice.
I originally gave this a 7 out of 10 because I felt the pacing, because I felt it suffered from a few pacing issues, and I felt the story was pretty unoriginal. But then I thought, man, this was a fun ride. I mean, the visuals were outstanding. It's extremely funny. The family dynamic is extremely compelling, and you can tell that this is by the same guys behind the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Which can we just agree that Lauren Miller should run Sony Pictures Animation from now on?
Like really? Oh, Søren. Before we continue, I just Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon will be released in November.
Wow.
Yep.
So, anyways, my number 15 is The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Let the Dark Harvest begin.
I love that line. I really wanted to put it on the list too, but it's just I did feel the film was a bit too long. I still love this movie, and I really do think it's one of the best films I saw from 2021. And in addition, the best animated movie I've seen this year.
No contest.
Easily. Starting off at the number 15 spot was the first A+ film of 2020 that I gave in 2021, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Dan Kaluuya really deserved it.
He did. Judas and the Black Messiah is one of the most powerful, compelling, gripping, and riveting films I have seen this entire year. I mean, as a biographical film about the betrayal of Fred Hampton, chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party in late 1960s Chicago at the hands of William O'Neill, an FBI informant, Judas and the Black Messiah not only features some powerhouse performances by Daniel Kaluuya, who easily deserved that Oscar for sure, as well as Lakeith Stanfield. But it's one of those movies that really stays with you once you've seen it, especially with its timely and important message about racism. The story was fantastic. The script was fantastic. It was very well directed. I'm very happy that Daniel Kaluuya won Best Supporting Actor, because his performance in the film as Fred Hampton was unlike anything I've ever seen from him, since it felt natural and powerful. I already mentioned Lakeith Stanfield. He's also fantastic too, as William O'Neill. Jesse Plemons, Dominique Fishback, Ashton Sanders, Daryl Britt Gibson, Lowell Howery, Augie Smith, Dominique Throne, and Dominique Thorne and Martin Sheen also delivered some fantastic performances in the film as well. The musical score was excellent. The cinematography was terrific. The pacing was great. The editing was terrific. And not only did the film have amazing production values and costume design, since it feels like you're back in 1968, but the themes that they were trying to go for in the film involving like racism and other things was very well done, since it felt very timely. Overall, if you have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah, you are doing yourself a disservice. Please watch this one as soon as you can. It's one of the best movies from 2021, and I'm really happy it deserved. It got some love as it really deserved it, and that's why it is a Judas and the Black Messiah is a good way to kick off the best of list at number 15.
As for my number 14, it's Joe Cohen's first movie as a solo director, or was it Ethan Cohen? Anyways,
Joel Cohen. Sorry.
Joe Cohen, thank you. Anyways, my number 14 is The Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, we all know the story of Macbeth, as Michael Fassbender has played him. Roman Polanski made a movie out of it. But it's just a really compelling story that you just don't care that it's the 85th adaptation. Especially since it's well shot, since it's really makes you feel like it's a 1920s film or something, and the performances are great too. Denzel Washington was great, so was Frances McDormand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my number 14 is The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Number 14, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be shocked that this is not like higher on the list, but you know what? I still love this movie regardless. And number 14 is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
You'll say it way high on my list.
I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
Me too.
Going in, I knew it was going to be good. But what surprised me was how much I absolutely loved everything about Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'm going to give a short details about this movie because we did discuss this in our spoiler discussion back in December. But long story short, this is one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen, and not to mention, this is easily one of Marvel Cinematic Universe's best movies. From its fantastic performance by Tom Holland as always as Spider-Man, to the other performances such as Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jon Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, Marissa Tomei, to outstanding performances by Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as the other Spider-Mans from a different universe. Peter Parker Spider-Man from a different universe. The visual effects are spectacular. The cinematography was wonderful. The musical score by Michael Giacchino was excellent. And the ending was absolutely terrific. It ended the series off on such a high note. Yeah, it's unfortunate that like we stated before in our discussion, in our review discussion we had we had on the last podcast back in December. Yes, it's unfortunate that Peter Parker had to lose his memory the same as well as his friends, but like I said, think of the consequences that he faced that he faced when think of the consequences he had to face with all this going on. And plus, the world would have gone to shit if he didn't do that. If he made the right decision. That's why the ending worked. Overall, Spider-Man No Way Home is easily one of the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And without a doubt, it is just a wonderful film. It is just a wonderful film that has something for everyone, especially the fans of Spider-Man. Not just from Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield fans, but from every type of Spider-Man fans. It is easily a perfect way to end the trilogy on such a high note. And without a doubt, Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 14.
As for my number 13, The Power of the Dog. Jane Campion delivers this compelling Western, and the performances are terrific. From Benedict Cumberbatch as this really tense protagonist that you are afraid of at first, but as the film goes along, you understand where he's coming from. To Kristen Dunst and Cody Smith-McPhee, who really deserve their award buzz.
It's Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah.
Plus, it's pretty much this generation's Brokeback Mountain in terms of its themes and directorial style, and plus it has a scene with a horse dick that doesn't make me want to vomit my guts out. Take notes, Tom Green.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, my number 13 is The Power of the Dog, and I feel like Nick has a lot to say about it.
We'll get to that when we get to my top 3. So. Number 13 is an independent film that not a lot of people saw, but I was excited to see this one because of its because of the positive buzz it received back when it premiered at the Sundance Film Festival back in January 2020 before the pandemic hit, and a year and a half later we finally got this overlooked gem. And number 13, when I saw this, I knew there was no way it was going to escape my top 15, and now, months later, it's still in my top 15. I'm really happy that this is on here. Number 13, 9 Days. 9 Days was incredible. I absolutely love this movie. I love it when films cover on what the meaning of life is and what it means to be human. And 9 Days is one of those films.
And yeah, you could argue that it's pretty much a hard house version of Soul, but how it covers the concepts of before life are just pretty unique and compelling.
Yes, not to mention it's one of the most original, beautiful, powerful, riveting, and mesmerizing films I have seen this entire year too. What's also really amazing about this movie is that while we're on that now we're. Since we're on the topic of like about the meaning of life, how Edson Oda, the writer and director of this movie, first off, his writing was absolutely phenomenal. Because not only did he make the characters feel like real people, but the way he directed the movie with a lot of passion and heart with every scene and the vision you could see he was trying to go for. Everything was pitch perfect, and the way he covers the subject of like the meaning of life and like what it means to be human and how those topics were executed in the film was just nothing short of just pure brilliance. The acting was absolutely terrific. Winston Duke delivers one of the best and most overlooked breakthrough performances I saw last year. I mean, because of how, and the reason is because of how natural, powerful, and haunting his performance was in the film. The way he got into character as Will was just absolutely amazing. Not to mention, you also got wonderful performances by Zazie Beetz, Benedict Wong, Tony Hale, and Bill Skarsgård. The musical score was fantastic. It's one of the best I've heard from last year because of how beautiful and haunting it was. The story was fantastic and emotionally investing. The cinematography is beautiful. The editing was fantastic. I love the way it was paced. Yes, it's a very slow burn pace, and I understand why some people will be turned off by that. But the reason it worked for me was because it fit the tone and atmosphere it was trying to go for. That's why it worked. And the ending is one of the most joyous and beautiful endings I have seen put to film last year. If you have not seen 9 Days, you are doing yourself a disservice. Please watch 9 Days as soon as you can. 9 Days features Winston Duke giving out one of the best and most powerful performances I've seen last year, and it's one of the most original, beautiful, powerful, riveting, and mesmerizing films I have seen I've seen from last year too. That's why it is number 13 on the list.
As for my number 12, let me just look over it. Oh, Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley is another great movie by Guillermo del Toro, and it proves that he doesn't need fantastical elements to make a compelling movie. The way he captures the 1950s look is just stunning, and the cast is extremely great. And as each character is so compelling you're just so interested in their secrets, especially Bradley Cooper and Kate Blanchett. So yeah, it's really sad to see that movie bomb at the box office, though I can understand why due to a certain other movie coming out the exact same day. But if you haven't seen this movie, go see it. So yeah, my number 12.
Seriously.
My number 12 is Nightmare Alley.
My dad and I saw the black and white version in theaters, and it was really good.
I love that movie, by the way. Number 12 is another overlooked independent gem that not a lot of people saw. I was curious to check this one out to see if it was worth all the praise it was getting. Guys, it was worth it. Number 12, Pig.
I'll talk about it later.
My God, Pig was amazing. As a movie that follows a truffle forager whose beloved truffle finding pig is stolen, this is one of the most moving, powerful, and mesmerizing films I have seen this entire year. From Nicolas Cage giving out his best performance since leaving Las Vegas, to the stunning cinematography, the rest of the acting, including Alex Wolff and Adam Arkin, being fantastic. The film being very well paced, being very well directed by Michael Sorenowski. Well, I'm not going to give it away. To the film having one of the most jaw-droppingly powerful endings I have seen put to film this entire year. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but for those who have seen that ending, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, overall, Pig was one of the most mesmerizing and powerful films I have seen from one of the most powerful and moving films I have seen from last year, and it easily deserves the number 12 spot on the list.
As for my number 11, Tick, Tick, Boom.
Nice.
Lin-Manuel Miranda really delivers it in his directorial debut, as the musical sequences are just so fun to behold. And Andrew Garfield gives out probably his best performance. Yes, even better than No Way Home.
He's such a good actor.
He is.
Plus, it's a way better movie. Plus, it's a way better version of Dear Evan Hansen. So there's that.
Fuck Dear Evan Hansen.
So yeah, my number 11 is Tick, Tick, Boom.
All right, so number 11 on the list. Okay, number 11 on the list. This was another independent film that I had a hard time figuring out the films at 11 through 8. But after some careful thinking, I decided this would be the spot. Coming in at number 11 is a movie that features this actor in one of his very best performances, and a great follow up to his previous movie, which won the Oscar for Best Actor. Number 11 is Mike Mills' Come On, Come On.
That's a fantastic movie.
I love this movie. This is absolutely one of the most moving films I have seen this entire year. And I loved Mike Mills' previous movies, which were Beginners and 20th Century Women. But this might be the best movie he's done at his belt. I'm completely serious. This is unlike anything I've ever seen him direct. He crafted such a great movie involving, while simple, a riveting story involving Joaquin Phoenix's character, who plays an uncle who babysits his nephew, and let me tell you, this is such a moving film. This is one of the most moving films I have seen this entire year. Joaquin Phoenix delivers one of his best performances as Johnny. I love the way I also love the way Mike Mills wrote the character. He feels like a real person, and Woody Norman delivers one of the best breakthrough performances I've seen last year as Jesse. He was incredible. He acts like a real kid. And aside from another film, which I'm going to talk about later, this is the best performance I've seen from a kid this decade so far. Aside from another,
swing away, Johnny.
Yeah, really. The script was absolutely wonderful. Not only was the dialogue riveting, but the way he had the characters, but the way he wrote the characters as if they're like real people, that was incredible. I love the story. And what also surprised me about this movie, other than its amazing black and white cinematography, was the way this movie cuts back and forth to not only the story, but the interviews with real kids. I was like, that is clever. That is clever writing right there. Clever directing right there. And I'm not surprised when I found out that the interviews were real, because I do believe that these could be the kids of the future. From what I saw in the film, I really could believe that a lot. And the ending was absolutely moving too. This is one of the most moving endings I have seen this entire year. Overall, Come On, Come On was absolutely wonderful. It's moving, it's funny, it's entertaining, and it's just one of the most, and it's also one of the most mesmerizing films I've seen this year too. That's why it's number 11 on the list.
As for my number 10 is James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Nice.
This is a way better movie than that 2016 movie, as James Gunn puts his vision up to 11, from the visuals to the soundtrack to the action sequences to all the lovable characters. Well, lovable to hate, but the compelling characters, from Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba, to
who's a Superman villain in the comics.
I can see that. To Ratcatcher 2, to
the original Ratcatcher was a villain of Batman.
To the scene stealer of this movie, King Shark, played by
he was an enemy of
Stallone.
Aquaman.
Oh, and the other scene stealer, Peacemaker, by You Can't See Me himself, John Cena.
Yeah, he initially had his own comic book series in the 1960s.
I can't wait to check out that Peacemaker show.
Yeah, but you surprised by my facts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Suicide Squad is brutal, it's funny, it's visually pleasing, it's just James Gunn. James Gunn, props to you. So yeah, my number 10.
Seriously, man.
My number 10 is the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I really loved the Suicide Squad simply because it showcases obscure characters that I have heard of. For example, I've heard of Starro when I first played Injustice Gods Among Us because he was a stage interaction in the Fortress of Solitude. And for other characters is that King Shark, he appears in the Flash show as a villain voiced by David Hayter. And he was voiced by John DiMaggio saying, "King Shark is a shark!" And Weasel in the comics wasn't just a typical weasel monster. He was just a guy who transforms into a creature and doesn't talk like Scrat.
Nice.
You surprised by my revelations?
Yeah. All right, so number 10 on the list, another A24 film on the list, The Green Knight, directed by David Lowery.
I'll talk about it later.
Such a great movie.
I love this movie. This is absolutely one of the most mesmerizing and exhilarating films I have seen this entire year. From the acting being absolutely fantastic by Dev Patel, who was wonderful in this movie, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, Ralph Neeson as the Green Knight was incredible. Every performance in the film was phenomenal. The directing was fantastic. The script was wonderful. The musical score is one of the very, very best I've heard in the film from last year. It is so beautiful and haunting. And the fact that it wasn't nominated for any awards just shows on how out of touch with reality the Oscars are nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, that film was brought to you by Gawain's Word from Between the Lions.
Yeah. The production values and costume design was absolutely terrific, since it feels like you're back in the medieval times. I do understand why a lot of people didn't love this movie as much as we did, because look, I do think it was a bit I do think the advertising was a bit mishandled, because they tried to hide this as being like they try to advertise this as being like the next Lord of the Rings, when really it's just a quiet journey of Dev Patel's character going on a journey to confront the Green Knight. And right there, I felt like I was right there with him.
This looks really good, Poop Smith. Can I eat it?
The cinematography was beautiful, and the ending, wow. One of the best endings I've seen from last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how David Lowery was able to write that ending, but he did an incredible job with it. This is an incredible movie that I highly recommend giving this one a watch. If you don't mind slow burn paced movies, then you are in for one of the best movies I saw from last year. From last year that deals with the subjects of like courage, morality, and triumph very well in the film. It's a wonderful, powerful, mesmerizing, and riveting film. It's exploring the themes of triumph, courage, and morality so well. And that's why The Green Knight, directed by David Lowery, is number 10 on the list. Well done, David Lowery.
My number 9 is one of the most unique and mesmerizing experiences of 2021, Annette.
Nice.
Annette is pretty much like no other movie. It's a slow burn musical with the terrific performances by Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard. Some breathtaking cinematography. Probably the best music in the entire year. Like it was, the entire soundtrack was completely shunned by the Oscars. So yeah, if you haven't seen Annette, stop watching this podcast and log into Amazon Prime. So yeah, my number 9 is Annette.
Number 9, another movie that a lot of people didn't love as much as I did, but I love this movie. It was one of the best and most mesmerizing films I have seen from last year. Number 9, Spencer.
Yeah,
Kristen-
so good.
Kristen Stewart.
So
Kristen
good.
Stewart deserved all the acclaim.
Yes, this movie was absolutely phenomenal. Look, I understand why a lot of people didn't love this movie. I mean, some people didn't like how it was like an experimental biopic where it focused on the 3 days of Princess Diana and the hard times she went through rather than an actual biopic of Princess Diana. But to me, that actually worked for me. I love the way the story was told. The acting was absolutely phenomenal. Kristen Stewart, this is easily the best that she's been in, and I'm very happy that she's been nominated for Best Actress. So that's so that the haters of her can easily shut up and stop taunting her, all because of Twilight.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, you guys get the point. When it came to the psychological aspects of the film, I thought it was very well handled. I really thought it was very well handled, since you really do feel her pain of what Princess Diana went through, and that's why the psychological aspects worked for me. Like involving the paparazzi, leaving the British royal family to the Cheens, to the scandal involving that divorce with involving the divorce of Prince. Like let me rephrase it. I'm sorry. You do understand this. That's why the psychological aspects work for me. Like I said, because this is exploring the existential crisis that Princess Diana went through from the time involving the scandal, from the time of a scandal that was involving Prince Charles, which caused her to leave the British royal family, and to like the paparazzi all of a sudden like stalking her all of a sudden. And it was just, you really do feel her pain and what she went through throughout the film. That's why the psychological aspects work. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful. It's very well directed, very well written, very well acted, especially from not only Kristen Stewart, but from Timothy Spall and Sally Hawkins as well. The music, from its also amazing jazzy musical score by Johnny Greenwood, and the ending being one of the best endings I've seen from the film from last year. I absolutely love Spencer. It was easily one of the best movies I saw last year, and without a doubt, Spencer is number 9 on the list.
As for my number 8, Nick just mentioned it. Pig.
Nice.
Like he said, this is Nicolas Cage's best performance since leaving Las Vegas.
Not the pig! Not the pig!
What's up, Mr. Cage?
Like when you were first heard about this movie, you're like, I don't know about it. Like you're pretty much expecting John Wick with a pig, but instead what you're getting is a deeply compelling drama about this guy who's shunned himself out of society for so long, and it's just now rediscovering his friends and family, all because he wanted his pig back. The direction is also phenomenal, and the cinematography is pretty well done. Only enough to an ending like Nick said will leave you speechless.
Yeah.
So yeah, my number 8 is Pig.
I expected your skull to go flammable.
Oh boy. Number 8 on my list. This is another film that's going to surprise a lot of people that this is on the list, and number 8 on the list, this is one of those movies that I originally wasn't planning to watch, but after all the critical praise it was receiving, including my friend Søren who saw it, including all the nominations it was receiving, I was like, you know what, I gotta watch this. And my God, if I saw this back in the summer, this would have been number 2 on the list. this would have been number 2 on my best of the summer list, behind what I consider the best film of the summer, which we'll get to in a little bit. But number 8 is Coda.
I told you.
My God, Coda blew me away. I did not think I was going to love this movie, but I was proven wrong. The fact that this is the only Apple TV original on the list that's not A24 that they distribute.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tragedy of Macbeth, but then you said A24. But yeah, carry on.
That's fine. The fact that this is the only Apple TV film that's not distributed by A24 that they distributed themselves, and that it's on the list as one of the best I've seen this year, that is incredible. If you don't know what Coda is the story of Amelia Jones's character. The film stars Amelia Jones as an eponymous. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Coda, the only hearing member of a deaf family. So this is exploring her. This is exploring about the family who's deaf, and this is also a coming of age movie, since this is involving her wanting to follow her dream to become a singer in the choir too. And how this movie was structured was absolutely wonderful. Amelia Jones delivers one of the best performances I've seen last year's Ruby Rossi. Troy Kotsur, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but he was incredible. I'm really happy he got the Best Supporting Actor nomination as Ruby's father, Frank Rossi, because my God, this is a wonderful performance. Not to mention, Marley Madeline was also wonderful too. But Eugenio Derbez, I was very, very surprised by. I never thought that Eugenio Derbez would play a choir teacher in one of his serious roles, and yet he managed to pull out one of the most powerful and realistic performances of a choir teacher I have ever seen in a motion picture. Because this reminded me of my choir days when I was in choir in high school, and I had Mrs. Getz is like one of my teachers. Which Mrs. Getz, if you're watching this, I love you, Mrs. Getz, and I really thank you so much for teaching me for 4 years. You gave me the best 4 years of my life. Thank you so much. The script was fantastic, since the characters feel like real people. It's very well directed. The story was fantastic. The soundtrack was wonderful. The cinematography is beautiful. It's very well edited, very well paced. And what also surprised me was that it was also really funny at times. Like when it came to the humor in the film, it was very unexpected, and it had me laughing at some of the parts. But my God, the ending to the film broke me in a good way. This is one of the most emotional endings I've ever seen put to film this entire year. The moment the film ended, I literally bawled my eyes out. It was that emotional, of an ending. It was that emotional. I couldn't believe it. And the way it covers the subject of like family, that was wonderful. That was wonderfully handled too. Yeah, so overall, Coda is one of the most moving films I have seen this entire year. It is not hard to see why this film has been getting a lot of love, especially with the Best Picture nomination it received, because this is easily one of the best movies I've seen this entire year. And honestly, it makes me look forward to seeing what other films that Apple original films will be releasing in theaters while also playing on streaming services the same day.
Go to the men's room.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, overall, Coda is just one of the best movies I've seen last year, and it is easily number 8 on the list.
As for my number 7, A Quiet Place Part 2. it's pretty safe to say that John Krasinski has made lightning strike twice, as his direction is still as unique and compelling as ever. The way he uses the various sounds and scares, and it's really something to behold. And the
Yeah.
characters are also compelling, from Emily Blunt to her two kids to newcomer what's his name, Cillian Murphy. He's pretty much the best character in the entire movie.
Oh, he is for sure.
So yeah, my number 7 is A Quiet Place Part 2, and I can't wait to see the spin-off and the sequel.
Me too. Me too. All right, number 7. Number 7 is the best documentary film I have seen this entire year. Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. This has been a year of great documentary films, and I already had Julia on the list, but Summer of Soul was the one that really, really moved me the most this entire year. This is involving like this concert that took place in Harlem, New York in 1969 at the Harlem Cultural Festival, and how they were able to restore the footage of that festival back when it couldn't be like put on television, because at the time it was seen as obscure, which is a really dick move on their part to even think that. But how they were able to restore the footage of that concert was just absolutely wonderful. I love the interviews. The story of the documentary was fantastic. It was very well directed, very well edited, very well shot, and there's also some humorous moments in it too. And it was just all around one of the most entertaining documentary films I have ever seen in my entire life. If you have not seen Summer of Soul, it is on Hulu. It is on Hulu, and you need to watch it right away. It is one of the best documentary films I have ever seen, and that's why Summer of Soul is my number 7.
All right. As for my number 6, what was it? Oh yeah, Last Night in Soho.
Nice.
Edgar Wright pulls off his first dramatic film in space. Like, it really reminds me of Suspiria in a way, with how it's shot and paced. Both the performances of what's their names?
Anya
Taylor-Joy and the other girl, they probably should have been nominated for the Oscars.
Oh yeah, they should have. And Thomas and McKenzie.
And Thomas and McKenzie, thank you.
You're welcome.
The music is great as always for a Edgar Wright film, and the mystery is not only compelling and really riveting to go through, but at the end you're just speechless.
Yeah.
So yeah, Last Night in Soho is my number 6.
Number 6 on the list is the movie that Soren mentioned, and it is Joe Cohen's The Tragedy of Macbeth.
All right.
I love me a good Shakespeare story, which was why I was really looking forward to seeing this one. And my God, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. In a movie involving like Macbeth. Well, yes, the story has some similarities to the other Macbeth adaptations. What made this one of the best movies that I've seen from last year was the way it was presented. From not only its wonderful performances by Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, and Catherine Hunter, but from its stunning cinematography, shot this beautifully in black and white. Like, wow. To its wonderful production values and costume design, its wonderful writing, wonderful editing, wonderful music, great story, and an ending that will leave your jaw dropped. And there's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of fight sequences in the film, but when there is, holy shit, they are powerful as hell. The way it was choreographed, the way it was shot, the way it was edited. Wow. Yeah, this is not only Apple TV. This is not only the best movie Apple TV has made this year, but it's also the best movie A24 has distributed this year too.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. And Joel Cohen, if this is really Joel Cohen, even if you're not directing with your brother Ethan Cohen, I still look forward to seeing what you do next. Even with or without Ethan Cohen, I still look forward to seeing what you do next. Because your brother Ethan also delivers some of my favorite movies as well, like Fargo and No Country for Old Men. And the fact that you made your debut by directing by yourself instead of your brother, that shows that you still got a lot of talent. That shows that you are a very talented filmmaker, and I cannot wait to see what you do next.
And not to mention my favorite Coen Brothers movie, The Big Lebowski.
That's mine too.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, so overall, The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen, is my number 6.
And speaking of A24, my number 5 is The Green Knight.
Nice.
As Nick has said, by the trailers, you probably expected the next Lord of the Rings, but what you get is a really personal story of Dave Patel's character and his dilemmas on whether to fulfill his destiny on finding the Green Knight or not. The costumes were breathtaking, as were the cinematography and art direction, and there are just so many scenes that are, slow, but really grab your attention, especially the ending. So yeah, it deserves to kick off the top 5 spot. And number 5, The Green Knight.
Number 5 on the list. Number 5 on the list was my most anticipated film of 2021, and boy, did this movie blow my expectations away. Number 5, Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1.
I'll mention it in the top 3.
To say that I was looking forward to seeing this movie would be an understatement. I've been a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve since Prisoners. And when I heard that his next movie, after scoring that huge success with Prisoners, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049, and his Oscar-nominated film Arrival, when I heard that his next movie was going to be based on Frank Herbert's novel, the same name, I immediately wanted to see it. And my God, he blew me away with this one. I know some people had some problems with the fact that the way it was presented as like part 1 of the planned 2-parter series, but I didn't mind that at all because well, yes, it did feel a bit incomplete a little bit. The way it was presented was just nothing short of just outstanding. I was emotionally invested and engaged with the story of the film. The script is one of the year's best due to both the film's dialogue and characterization being very well written. Denis Villeneuve did an incredible job with the way he directed this movie, especially with how he directs the action sequences, which I'll get to in a bit. The acting was absolutely terrific. Timothée Chalamet, who I've been a huge fan of since Call Me By Your Name and Little Women, gives such a magnificent and powerful performance in the film. Not to mention Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Zendaya, despite her and Stellan not being in the film that much. Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa also give out fantastic performances in the film as well. The Hans Zimmer's musical score is the best I've heard in the motion picture this entire year, since it's both powerful and exhilarating. Especially with the way he could get that to the score. This one song involving the bagpipes. Like, whoa. The cinematography was phenomenal. Even though it was not done by Roger Deakins, it feels like it. Even despite the fact that it's not done by Roger Deakins, it really feels like it was done by him. Joe Walker's editing was terrific. The film's pacing was terrific. Yes, like other Villeneuve's films, it is a slow burn pace, which I can understand some people being turned off by, but to me it worked because it fit the tone and atmosphere of the film was trying to go for. Not to mention, when it came to the action sequences, there are two words to describe the action sequences in Dune. Exhilarating and thrilling. The way they were choreographed and directed blew me away. And it's pretty obvious when I say this, but the visual effects for Dune is the best I've seen put to film in 2021. Not only was it well detailed, but the way they did the visual effects on the creatures, absolutely terrific. And not only were both the sound design and sound effects editing terrific, but the way it ended makes me look forward to part 2. It just made me hungry for part 2, which given by how much this film did well at the box office, not just at the box office, but on HBO Max as well, I cannot wait to see part 2 in 2023. I cannot wait to see it, just to see this conclusion. Overall, Dune is one of the most epic, dazzling, thrilling, visually stunning, entertaining, and exhilarating films I have seen this entire year, and that is why Dune Part 1 is number 5 on the list. Bring on Part 2, Denis. Bring on Part 2, please.
As for my number 4 is a movie that Kenneth Branagh needed after Artemis's foul stints. That is Belfast.
I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Such a great movie.
It is.
Yeah, it's really personal too, because it focuses on this little boy's escapism, escapism after the invasion of his town, and the performances are all outstanding. From the main kid to Jamie Dornan, who needed this after the 50 Shades movies.
Absolutely.
To Judi Dench, to the other guys, and the black and white cinematography. It's probably the second best, since it's the second best behind Dune. So yeah, I'm sure Nick has a lot to say about it later. But as for me, my number 4, Belfast.
Number 4 on the list. Number 4 on the list. A lot of people had skepticism when this was first announced, but leave it to one of my favorite filmmakers, Steven Spielberg, to craft his answer to A Star Is Born. Number 4, West Side Story.
Hands down, the biggest surprise of the year.
Yes, I love this movie. I really love this movie. This was. I mean, musicals are like hit or miss for me. There are some that I really love and some I really didn't, including one that I really hated. I'm looking at you, Jeremy Hansen. Yeah. But In the Heights, I loved In the Heights. I loved Tick Tick Boom. But West Side Story was unlike anything I've ever seen in the musical in 2021. While yes, it does follow the same beats. It does follow some of the same beats as the original film. How I was able to like stand out. How I was able to like. Excuse me. I'm sorry. How the story was structured was just nothing short of just amazing. Give me a second. Here it is. Based on the Broadway. Yeah. As a movie that is not only a reimagining of the 1961 film, but also based on the Broadway play of the same name, West Side Story is not only one of the best remakes I've ever seen, but I also feel it's one of Steven Spielberg's finest movies, since this is one of the most powerful, exhilarating, and extraordinary films I have ever seen, since this is one of those films that really stuck with me by the time it was over. Yeah, just leave it to Spielberg for not only proving everyone wrong, but for also crafting such a wonderful story that stays faithful to the source material. The story had me emotionally invested due to how well executed and well detailed it was. Tony Kushner's script was absolutely terrific and one of the best of the year, since not only did the film have such terrific dialogue, but it also had characters that feel fleshed out and very well developed. Not to mention, Steven Spielberg did an incredible job with the way he directed this movie. Not only do you see his passion with every shot of the film by sticking to the Broadway play rather than the 1961 movie, but how he directed the actors in the film is just nothing short of amazing. And speaking of the actors, the acting was absolutely terrific. I know some people had some problems with Enzo Elgort as Tony, and while I do agree that he's not as masterful as the other actor that played him, Tony in the 1961 film, played by Richard Bamer. I still loved him as Tony. I still thought he did a good job playing as Tony. But there were three performances that really stood out with me the most. First off, for the supporting performances, Ariana DeBose and Rita Moreno did an incredible job with the way they portrayed their roles in the film. With Ariana DeBose, she did an incredible job with the way she played Anita in the film. Rita Moreno was wonderful as Valentina, but Rachel Zegler, wow! Honestly, if she does win the Oscar for her performance, I will not complain at all, because what a performance she gave out. Even though Kristen Stewart is my pick to win, if she ends up winning, I will not complain, because her performance as Maria was absolutely phenomenal. Not only with the way she acted in the film, but with the way she sang. Whoa! What a wonderful singing voice she delivered. The musical score, the soundtrack was wonderful. The cinematography was absolutely terrific, and one of the best I've seen put to film this entire year. The editing was absolutely terrific, and so was the film's brilliant pacing. And since this is a musical, how were the musical numbers? 2 words: absolutely terrific. Not only were the musical numbers just as memorable as they were in the 1961 version, but the choreography was also absolutely fantastic as well, and it also delivers some of the best production values and costume design I've seen put to film this entire year, since it really feels like you're back in the 1950s where the film setting takes place in.
Yeah. However, I learned that there are some unnecessary changes. For example, the original character, Anybody, is a tomboy, while in this film, a trans man, which resulted in the film getting banned in several countries.
Honestly, I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that some changes can actually be bad.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I don't want to go off topic like this. So let's just finish this up. Overall, West Side Story is one of Steven Spielberg's finest movies, and one of the best movie musicals I've seen, since this is one of the most powerful, exhilarating, and extraordinary films I've ever seen. And it is without a doubt one of the year's very best, in my opinion. And that's why West Side Story is number 4 on the list. Well done, Spielberg. Well done.
Anyways, on to the top 3. My number 3 is a movie 19 years in the making, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Nice.
This is one of Marvel's best, hands down. Because Tom Holland's character of Peter Parker goes through so much drama, and what he's going through is just so compelling. Learning the values of being a hero, and the whole responsibility thing, and the way it handles other Marvel heroes like Daredevil, Doctor Strange, and even the 2 previous Spider-Men, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Yeah, they are there, but the way they handle them is just so captivating, and it really uses member berries in the best way of the year. I'm looking at you, Matrix member berries.
Yeah, really, and I'm looking at you, Jurassic World Dominant, even though it didn't come out yet. But still, I'm still not looking forward to that at all.
The visuals in No Way Home are stunning. The music by Michael Giacchino is the best in the entire trilogy, and it even features a Venom cameo that Nick didn't hate himself watching.
Thank goodness.
So yeah, my number 3 is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Number 3 on my list. I think it's safe to say Kenneth Branagh needed this. Soren mentioned it. Number 3 is Belfast. I love this movie. Belfast. I love this movie. Belfast is one of the most powerful, extraordinary, exhilarating, and moving films I have ever seen. Movies like Belfast are why I love movies so much, since this is one of those movies that sticks with you by the time you leave the theater after it's over. From its terrific and emotionally investing story to one of the year's very best scripts and directions by Kenneth Branagh, to the acting being absolutely terrific. Not only did Catriona Balfe, Judi Dench, Jamie Dornan, and Serene Hines, I'm sorry if I mispronounced those names, both deliver some of the best performances I've seen from last year. But Jude Hill delivers the very best breakthrough performance I've seen in a motion picture this entire year as Buddy. The way his performance came off in the film was just nothing short of spectacular, since he acts like a real kid. Much like how Woody Norman from my number 11 spot, Come On, acted like a real kid when playing Jesse. And that's what I loved about that performance as well. The soundtrack was absolutely incredible with the song choices, especially the ones by Van Morrison. The cinematography is the best I've seen put the film in 2021, since I love the way it was shot in black and white with some color elements mixed in. The editing was terrific, and so was the film's pacing. This movie also had one of the very best production values and costume design I've seen from last year, since it feels like you're back in 1969, 1970, where the film setting takes place. And not only was I surprised with how funny the film was, since the film's humor was both witty and clever, but the ending is without a doubt one of the most emotional endings I've seen put to film from last year. I bawled my eyes out after it was over. And its themes and messages about family was also very well handled too. And I got to mention this: when it came to the political and religion aspects of the film, Kenneth Branagh did a great job not toying with you to choose one side, since both sides are shown to have a lot of flaws in it. He did an incredible job doing that. Yeah, overall, Belfast is one of the year's very best movies. It's powerful, it's exhilarating, and it's extraordinary, and it's one you should not miss. And I feel this is also one of Kenneth Branagh's very best movies. That's why Belfast is number 3 on my list.
As for my number 2 is science fiction's answer to Lord of the Rings, Dune. Like I said in a previous episode, this movie combines the sci-fi of Star Wars and the scope of Lord of the Rings. After the
I loved Dune.
Yeah, after the
I love Dune.
After the poor attempt by David Lynch to cram 2 Bibles worth of material into a 2-hour movie, Denisovich actually takes his time establishing the intriguing lore and characters. From Timothée Chalamet to Oscar Isaac to Jason Momoa to Jay Bautista. And like Nick said, the visuals are just something to behold, from the special effects to the cinematography to the music. I really hope it gets a ton of Oscars, though, to be fair. I don't really give a shit about the Oscars after they snubbed Denisovich for Best Director, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Point is, I can't wait to see Dune Part 2. So,
Me too.
And Denisovich has done it again. So yeah, my number 2 is Dune Part 1.
Number 2 on my list. Number 2 is this director's best movie since The Piano, and my favorite Netflix movie of the year, Jane Campion's The Power of the Dog. I was not expecting to put this higher on my list at number 2, but after thinking about this movie more and more, I just couldn't help but just put it as one of the year's very best. Jane Campion's The Power of the Dog is one of the best Western movies I've seen in years, since it's one of the most powerful, mesmerizing, and exhilarating movies I have seen in a Western movie. Not only do you get one of the year's best performances by Cody Smith McPhee and Jesse Plemons, but Kirsten Dunst was absolutely incredible in this movie, and Benedict Cumberbatch. This is the best I've seen him in a film. I know a lot of people want to see Will Smith win as Richard and King Richard. And don't get me wrong, he was fantastic in that film. But Benedict Cumberbatch, even though I don't give a shit about the Oscars anymore because of how much they gone politically biased, Benedict Cumberbatch is my pick to win Best Actor. He was incredible. Yes, his character is a menace, but throughout, but like Soren said, you do see where he's coming from with this. It's very well directed by Jane Campion. And if she does win, and if she does end up winning best director, it'll be I think it'll be well deserved because of how very, very superbly directed it was. From not only the way you see her vision of the film, but the passion with every scene in the film, with every scene she directs in the film. It's very well written. The script was absolutely wonderful. One of the year's very best scripts. The story was fantastic. Johnny Greenwood's musical score was wonderful. The cinematography is beautiful. It's very well edited. The pacing's fantastic. Yes, it's slow burn. It's a slow burn pace film, which, like I said, I do understand why a lot of people will be turned off by that. But to me, it worked because it fit the tone and atmosphere of the film. And plus, this is something we don't see a lot in westerns anymore. Westerns that are quiet yet moving. That are quiet and calm. And this is one of those western movies that really did its job well. And the way it ended, this is one of the best endings I've ever seen put to film from last year. I absolutely love The Power of the Dog. And it's not only do I feel this is Jane Campion's best movie since The Piano, but it's one of the best Western movies I've seen in years, since it's one of the most powerful, exhilarating, and mesmerizing films I have seen last year. If it wasn't for another film that I saw a month later, this would have been my number one film of the year. But my number one film of the year moved me more than all the other films from 2021, and we'll get to that after Soren talks about his number one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be right back for a second. Go ahead and explain your number one, Soren.
Putting this at number one is pretty much no shock to everyone. But the point that this is part of the franchise that I love so dearly, and the fact that this particular director finally got the justice he deserved, well, no pun intended. My number one favorite movie of the year is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Holy crap, what a movie. After a previous cut by Joss Whedon, which left so much to be desired, this one just blows it out of the water. From the compelling themes that carry on from both BVS and Man of Steel, to the really compelling characters like the Batman and Superman and Cyborg, to the extraordinary visuals, to the new characters like the new and improved Steppenwolf and Darkseid. What can I even say? This is pretty much the superhero equivalent of Ben-Hur. And one more thing I gotta say, Warner Brothers, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
Seriously.
Taking such a horrible tragedy like Snyder's suicide to your advantage, and using it to butcher Justice League however you wanted, it's just fucking inexcusable.
It is. Like, how could you do that to him?
And hell, you're still crapping on the DC fans, making the Blu-ray trailer unlisted and uploading a 4K trailer of Justice League. Just why?
Like, for real.
And also, Joss Whedon, you ought to be ashamed of yourself because of how you treated Gal Gadot and Ray Porter.
Like,
No,
seriously.
Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher, I should say.
It's fine.
So yeah, if this is the last we'll ever see of the Snyderverse, I'm honestly not complaining because this particular Zack Snyder's trilogy is officially complete. And even if the Flash does end up erasing the Snyderverse, I'm glad it ended on a high note.
Yeah, but it still had some sequel bait for unfinished projects that Zack Snyder didn't do.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, my number one is the Snyder Cut. Justice for Snyder.
Seriously. All right. You guys may have known what my number one is, but guys, no film in 2021 moved me and made me grin, and maybe no film in 2021 moved me the way like this one did. I mean, what does a movie have to do to make you love it? It not only makes you feel like you're there with these characters in another world, and not only does it make you laugh, not only does it make you cry, but what does a movie also do? Move you. It's supposed to move you. And my number one favorite movie of 2021 did the exact same thing as that. Not only did it move me, not only did it make me laugh, and not only did it entertain me, it made me tear up in a few spots, but it also moved me. My number one favorite movie of 2021 is Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza.
That was amazing.
It was.
I adored this movie so much. I adored everything about this movie. I'm well aware that my pick for the number one spot will receive some arguments, especially due to some of the recent controversy it was in. But hear me out first. Yes, I was a bit concerned on how they were going to handle the two main characters, which the main character played by Cooper Hoffman's 15, and then the other one played by Elena Hain was 25. But once you do see where they were coming from with this, once you do see why they wanted to be like this, and you understood where they were coming from with this, then you do buy the relationship. And keep in mind, this is stuff that only works. This is stuff that only works in the movies like this, not something in real life.
And it's also deliberately set in the 1970s.
Yes. Not only is it about the relationship, not only is it about their friendship, it's also a love letter and a wonderful time capsule to the 1970s. And how Paul Thomas Anderson was able to make that movie, was able to execute the whole movie involving this, was just absolutely amazing. Like, the script is the year's best. The way he wrote the script and the way he made the characters feel like real people, that was absolutely incredible. Because since it does feel like you want to hang out with these characters, even despite the film being fiction, but that's besides the point. The directing, Paul Thomas Anderson did an incredible job with the way he directed this movie. The story was absolutely wonderful. I found the story to be absolutely emotionally investing and moving. The acting was terrific. Cooper Hoffman and Elena Haim both delivered some of the best breakthrough performances I've seen from last year. And the chemistry that they had was absolutely terrific. Not only that, but you also had wonderful performances by Sean Penn, Tom Waits, Bradley Cooper, despite not being in the movie that much, but who cares? He was amazing. And Benny Safdie, from its compelling soundtrack, with not only its wonderful song choices, but its wonderful musical score by Johnny Greenwood. The cinematography was wonderful. It's very well edited, very well paced. It's funny. it's also very funny. There was a lot of humor in this movie that really caught me off guard and had me laughing throughout. It's very well edited. The production values and costume design is some of the best I've ever seen put to film from last year, since it really does feel like you're back in 1973 where the film setting takes place. And best of all, the ending was absolutely beautiful. This is one of the best endings I've ever seen put to film in my entire life. This is such a beautiful, beautiful movie. Overall, Licorice Pizza features the year's best breakthrough performances by Elena Haim and Cooper Hoffman, and not only do I feel that this is Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie since Boogie Nights, but this is one of the best coming-of-age films I've seen in a long time, since this is one of the most extraordinary and deeply moving films I have ever seen. And it is without a doubt that I honor Licorice Pizza as my number one favorite movie I saw in 2021. Paul Thomas Anderson, well done, sir. Thank you so much for delivering this masterpiece. Well done.
Yeah, Licorice Pizza is an honorable mention because not only is it well written and well acted, but it pretty much gives you something that you don't really see in movies anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I really liked it, in spite of the fact that nobody actually puts licorice on pizza, but that's just a minor.
I still can't get over that joke you did on the last podcast. Nobody puts licorice on pizza. 3 out of 10 misleading title. That was good.
Yeah.
All right, so that ends tonight's podcast and the wrap up of 2021 in film.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. I certainly had a wonderful time discussing the best movies that I saw in 2021. I hope you guys did as well. Like I said before, comment down, let me know below. What are the best movies that you saw in 2021? Let us know below. And thank you guys once again for watching tonight's podcast. Thank you again to Christian and to Søren for joining me on tonight's podcast. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channels. The link is in the description below. Give them the love they absolutely deserve, because they're wonderful friends to talk to and hang out with, and their videos are also amazing. And until we meet again in March for more of the movie reviews, for more 2022 movie reviews, hope you guys have a wonderful. Go ahead, Christian.
Also, 3 days ago was my birthday.
Happy birthday, Christian.
Happy belated.
Thanks.
Happy belated birthday.
Quarter of a century.
Happy belated birthday. My quarter of a century birthday is in September, so I'm looking forward to that.
Mine is in 2 years.
Yeah, but anyway, we should probably wrap this up. Until we meet again for episode 25. Yes, 25 of the FilmBrony podcast. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the month, and until we see you again in March. Oops. So until we see you again in March for the next podcast, stay safe out there, and until next time, peace out, guys.
Bye.
See you later.